was one of the first victims to be arrested on, I think it was on 6th Avenue and 56th Street, just around Rockefeller Center. Because they just showed up. We didn't know there was such an operation going on, and they came over there and they took my stuff, all of it, and threw it in the truck. So we used to clean the parks, we used to clean the streets. Where the saddest part is you'll be wearing a vest that says convict at the back, right? And you are there, right there in Times Square with a big, you're pulling trash and you're doing all kinds of things. And then I think I was the only Kenyan brave enough to do stuff like that. So my fellow Kenyans would see me around and they'll think I'm a criminal. And seriously, I was just trying to survive, and I was not doing a major criminal activity. I was just violating city ordinances, and we survived. And we continued like that for many, many years. And then I became a little bit smarter than that. New York, there are a lot of homeless people. It's a sad story, but it's a fact. And I guess there are homeless people all over, even in Kenya and all over the world. So I devised a way. Panhandlers, I decided to be giving them my merchandise to sell for me on commission, because nobody's going to bother with them. So I assembled a team of a lot of these guys. Unfortunately, most of them were either had alcohol problems or they had drug problems or whatever it was. But they loved me because they could make a quick buck and go do whatever they want. And buy food also, to me, was, okay, this guy needs money to buy food, that's why he's panhandling. Panhandling is begging for money in the streets. So I'll give them jobs, right? I'll set up a guy over here with a few items, another guy over there, and all over the area. And my job now would be to monitor these guys. He sells, he gives him the money because you can't trust him with money. I pay him his 10% commission, I pocket the rest of money. If anything happens, the police is coming to him, not me. It was a win-win situation for me because this guy, he has to eat and I have to eat. And the police has to do their job also. So we continued like that, and I made a lot of money doing that. So that's when now I can go back to the other story of I started bringing containers to the US on merchandise. Started bringing containers to New York City. I opened a warehouse on 28th Street and 11th Avenue on the West Side Highway, around down there. And I was doing well, I was thriving. And even here in Kenya, because I believe in the community and I believe in empowering others, I came and opened like a craft place where people could do crafting in Wamunyo, right in Machakos County. And I had a place where they would make the giraffes, I would employ them, or they can make them to me and sell them to me. And then we do the whole process and then ship them to the US. I'm hoping I created some impact down there because a lot of people educated their kids. As a matter of fact, the guy who was managing that operation for me here in Wamunyo, I'll leave him with money and I'll go back to the US and you continue with it. And just the other day he called me and told me his son is a manager of a bank in Nairobi, courtesy of the work we did. So I felt pretty good about that. And then we continued for many years, and then September 11 happened, right? That's when the World Trade Center was hit by Osama bin Laden. The towers of the World Trade Center were hit by an aircraft, and that's, I think, was that 203? September 11, 2 or something, I'm forgetting. Anyways, business was disrupted in New York. Everything went south from that point on. It became selling anything in New York became very hard. A lot of businesses in that area, because the proximity of the World Trade Center was walking distance from where my warehouse was. So most of that area was affected. The small businesses were affected, mine included, and also the economy of the US kind of slowed down at that time because there was a lot of uncertainty on what the next move on the terrorist part of it is going to happen. So things were not happening. So eventually I shut up the business, unfortunately, right? And then now I decided, okay, I'll move this business to Florida, because I knew there was a lot of tourism in Florida, Orlando, and I moved to Orlando. And in Orlando, I tried to do that business, and it was not very successful because Walt Disney World owns everything around there. Every little thing down there is Walt Disney, and rents I could not afford. I was just starting a new chapter in life. So I decided to go to North Carolina after 1 year in Orlando, and I moved to North Carolina, where I live today. And I continued that business, but this time around I got in the shopping malls and was able and lucky enough to open a little store in one of the malls, Triangle Town Center in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's why from Raleigh, you remember me, I started with a little kiosk down there, and then we moved to Northgate Mall in Durham, and then we have been, trying to expand the business, and thank God it does well. And I think there's a part of my life there I have skipped, but my story is so long that I can only tell you portions as I remember them. And I think for now I'm going to leave it there, and now I'm going to give you some more stories of what some of the adventures I went through in the US, because now we know where I came from. You know where I came from, Kenya. You have gone to where I was raised. You have seen where I went to school. You have seen where I live when I'm in Africa. You have seen where I used to hang out. You have seen where I broke these teeth at the river when I was a young man. You saw that too, right? So I think I'll be telling some random stories about my life, because sometimes the years pop up in my head and say, oh, wait a minute, do you remember such and such a place, such and such a time? And that's a whole another topic, a very long one. So I'll just be dropping them without any order, because there's no way to follow them from this year to the next year like that. I can't do that, but I can have some very random stories. Some of even in Africa, I might remember something that happened in Kenya, and I might be telling it from another continent. So chances are that the next time you hear a story from me, I'll be out of this African continent, which I love, which I hold a lot. It raised me, and I'm forever going to be very grateful, and to my neighbors who raised me, because it takes a village to raise a child. Ciao, asanteni sana. Asanteni sana. See you on the next one. There'll be a lot of stories. I have a lot of stories, and I'll tell you a lot of stories in the future. Asanteni sana. Boom.